Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. Thank you all for coming today morning for this Srimad Bhagavatam discussion. So today we are going to discuss, we are continuing our discussion on chapter 10 to 1. We are on chapter 11. We are departure of Lord Krishna, entering of Lord Krishna into the Dwarka. So this is a continuation of the chapter. Previously, Lord Krishna left Hastinapur, and there he was being glorified by all the devotees there. Now he's entering into the Dwarka, and all the residents of Dwarka, they are glorifying Krishna. And in that glorification, we'll see today's prayer, which is text number 11, text number 9 from chapter 11. So we'll recite this verse and then we'll go ahead from there. Yarihi ambuja shapsasar bho bhavan kurun madhunvat suhardi dakshaya tatrabdakoti pratima kshano bhaved ravim vinakshno ivanas tavachyuta yarihi ambuja shapsasar bho bhavan kurun madhunvat suhard didrakshaya tatrabdakoti pratima kshano bhaved ravim vinakshno ivanas tavachyuta yarihi ambujakshap sasarbho bhavan kurun madhunvat suhard didrakshaya tatrabdakoti pratima kshano bhaved ravim vinakshno ivanas tavachyuta. Few of the devotees would like to recite this verse.
Yarhi ambujakshapasasarabho bhavan kurun madhunvata surhudidikshaya tatrabdakoti pratimakshano bhaved ravim vinakshano rivanastavachyuta.
Hare Krishna. Yaham bujashapasasarabho bhavan kurun madhunvat suhudi drishya tatavdakoti pratimahashano bhave ravim vinashno nastavachayuta.
Hare Krishna. यह अम्बुजाक्षापससारभो भवान् कुरुन मधुन वात सुहृदि दृक्षया तत्राब्धकोटि प्रतिमः क्षणो भवेद् रविं विनाक्षणो इव नस्तवाच्युत. हरे कृष्ण.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yaryaham pujakshapasasarabho bhavan kurun madhunvat suhृदि drikshaya tatratakoti pratimahashano bhaved ravim vinakshno rihivanasa tavachyuta.
Anyone else would like to say? Okay, so we'll read the synonyms, translation proper. Synonyms. Yes.
Sorry, I thought I was unmuted. Yaryambujaksha pasasarabho bhavan kurun madhun vata suhriti dikshaya tatraptakoti pratimakshano bhaved ravim vinakshano iva nastavachyuta.
Thank you. Okay, so we'll read the synonyms. Here he, whenever, ambuja akshaha, O lotus-eyed one, apaha sasar, you go away, bho, O bhavan, yourself, kurun, the descendants of King Kuru, madhun, the inhabitants of Mathura, Vrajabhumi, va, either, atha, therefore, suhrit, the drakshaya, for meeting them, tatra, at the time, abd koti, millions of years, pratima, like, kshanha, moments, bhavet, becomes, ravim, the sun, vina, without, akshano, of the eyes, eva, like, that, naha, ours, tava, your, achyuta, O infallible one. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Abhay Charnaravind Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation: O lotus-eyed Lord, whenever you go away to Mathura, Vrindavan, or Hastinapur to meet your friends and relatives, every moment of your absence seems like millions of years. O infallible one, at that time our eyes become useless as if bereft of sun. We are all proud of our material senses for making experiments to determine the existence of God. But we forget that our senses are not absolute by themselves. They can only act under certain conditions. For example, our eyes, as long as the sunshine is there, our eyes are useful to a certain extent. But in the absence of sunshine, the eyes are useless. Lord Sri Krishna, being the primeval Lord, the supreme truth, is compared to the sun. Without him, all our knowledge is either false or partial. The opposite of the sun is darkness. And similarly, the opposite of Krishna is Maya or illusion. The devotees of the Lord can see everything in true perspective due to the light disseminated by Lord Krishna. By the grace of the Lord, the pure devotee cannot be in the darkness of ignorance. Therefore, it is necessary that we must always be in the sight of Lord Krishna so that we can see both ourselves and the Lord with his different energies. As we cannot see anything in the absence of the sun, so also we cannot see anything, including our own self, without the factual presence of the Lord. Without him, all our knowledge is covered by illusion. Om Ajnana Timirdasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamaham Dadati Swapadantyam Mandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapadikamlam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Sya Shri Rupam Sahagrajatam Sahegana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajim Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parjana Sahitam Krishtchaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Saheganlita Shri Vishakhan Vitam Sacha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatanane Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prem Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gorattushe Nama Pancha Kalpatarubhascha Kripa Sindhuvevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Nama Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa Sarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopekant Radha Kantaram Tapta Kanchan Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavanishwari Vrishmahanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityanand Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivashadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Yam pravajantam anupetam apeta dvepayano virkatarajua putreti tanmaytaya tarvo bhinedus tam sarvabhuthridayam munim anatu asmi yasvanubhavam akil shruti saramekam adhyatpadipam ritirshram ramandam samsaranam karunaya puranabhiyam tam vyasunam upayami gurumuni nam narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudairit Shranamatam Swakatha Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Ardanta Subhadrani Vidanoti Sursam Nashta Prayesha Bhadrisho Nityam Bhagava Sevya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtaki. Hare Krishna. So let me read the verse one more time. Yari Ambuja Kshapsasara Bho Bhavan Kurun Madhun Vat Suhardi Dakshaya Tatrabda Koti Prativakshano Bhaved Ravim Vinakshno Iva Nas Tavachutaha. So here in this verse, the devotees or the pure devotees of Dwarka, they are glorifying Krishna by saying that like it's like mood of separation. It is in this particular verse they are discussing about how their life is useless without Krishna. Here, if we see translation, so they are giving comparison here in this they are giving comparison. So whenever Lord Krishna used to travel, even though Lord Krishna, if you see, Lord Krishna moved to Dwarka and he was there for roughly about 100 years. If you see the pastimes of Lord Krishna, they are mostly divided into three places. That we have the pastimes of Mathura and Vrindavan and Dwarka. The pastimes of Hastinapur actually come into the category of Dwarka. Whatever the pastime that Lord Krishna performed, like in Hastinapur. So Lord appeared in Mathura, and on the same night he moved to Vrindavan, like in Gokula, and then there he stayed for roughly about 11 years, and then he moved back from Vrindavan back to Mathura, and in Mathura he was there for about 18 years, and then he transferred to he transferred everyone from Mathura to Dwarka, and then there is roughly around 100 years, something like that. So when Lord was in Dwarka, he used to travel back to Hastinapur or coming back to Mathura, Vrindavan for whatever purposes. So here they are saying whenever you go away to Mathura, Vrindavan or Hastinapur, means whenever Lord leave Dwarka, the point is here is like because Lord eternally reside in Vrindavan, and especially like wherever his devotees are. So he used to meet his friends, his relatives and all. So he used to leave Dwarka very frequently. So when they are saying that whenever you leave the residents of Dwarka, they are saying whenever you used to go out from Dwarka to meet your friends and relatives, every moment of your absence seems like millions of years. And they are giving this analogy like as our eyes become useless as if bereft of sun. Yeah. So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada start the purport with that we are all proud of our material senses there. So generally we see that seeing is believing. Like we are very proud what Prabhupada is saying, like we try to gather knowledge and very strong like a point of our knowledge is that pratyaksh praman. Like we basically whatever we experience through our senses, we basically take that as a very strong way of getting the knowledge. So here, Shri, we are all proud of our material eyes to make experiments to determine the existence of God. So if we say someone that, okay, like, like there's a God, so immediately people ask, can you show me the God? Because until unless we don't experience by our senses, we generally don't believe. Like common man, like we generally believe in what we experience. And but in the scriptures mentioned that Lord is adokshaja. We really cannot experience Lord with our material senses, but we are very proud that our material senses, we actually make many experiments to determine whether the God is there or not, right? So that's why here Prabhupada says that we are very proud of material senses, and material senses are imperfect. We know, like according to scriptures, our material senses are not perfect because they are limited. Our senses have range. Through our eyes have certain range. We can see probably about a mile, maybe 2 miles, depend upon the visibility, and similarly our ears have certain range of wavelength that we can hear it. We cannot hear all type of sounds, all type of wavelengths we cannot hear it. Similarly, our other senses also have limitations. Because our senses are limited, our knowledge is also limited. But we are very proud, like Prabhupada said, like especially in this Kali Yuga, we are very proud of what we experience. We think that is we know better than other people. So, but here Srila Prabhupada mentioned, but we forget that our senses are not absolute by themselves. Our senses cannot give us the full knowledge, because our senses work under, even our senses are limited, and they also work under certain conditions. If conditions are not there, our senses will not work. So here Prabhupada is giving example. For example, our eyes. We are very proud of our eyes, like we can see a lot of things, right? So, but we can only see as long as there is a sunshine, or what we call a light, right? Which is a source of sun. So as long as there is a sunshine, is there, our eyes are useful to certain extent. As I say, like, because we have limitation, even though sun is very bright outside, how far we can see? Like we really cannot see like very far. Many different living entity have different vision. Like we see other living entities, they have bigger vision or a smaller vision. Similarly, in among the human beings also, some people can see a little far. If your eyes are weak, you cannot even see what is nearby you. So, but they are all dependent upon sunshine. If there is no light, even though we have eyes, but they are useless. Because this is even like we can see through science also, when the light reflect on the object, that actually make picture in our eyes. So our eyes are only useful when there is a light. So, but here Prabhupada said, but in the absence of sunshine, the eyes are useless. Because they have no use, even though we have eyes, but we really cannot see. So what is the point of having eyes? The function of eyes is to see the objects, and objects are not, we cannot really see it. So it means that even though we have eyes, like especially in the night, right? Especially in the night, if there's a night, and especially if the day of Amavasya, like when there is no like moon also, it's become pitch dark, right? Very, very dark, right? So very difficult to see anything. So what is the use of that eyes? So here they are saying that Lord Shri Krishna, being the primeval Lord, Supreme Truth, is compared to the sun. Compared to the sun. Without him, all our knowledge is either false or partial. If we take out Krishna, so there is our knowledge, what we are gathering through our senses, either they are false, because we are basically like, we have 4 defects. The human society, we have 4 defects. So one is like we have imperfect senses, right? And to be illusion, we like the living entity can very easily get illusion. So because of that, either our knowledge is false or partial, even though we get some knowledge, but that knowledge is not complete, not absolute. Because why? Because without Krishna means uh, any knowledge that we are gathering by our senses, or maybe some through inference, or maybe by hearing from other people. You know, generally we see that there are three main evidence of getting knowledge, like either pratyaksh praman, anuman praman, and we see shabda praman. So if we see like the knowledge that we acquired by our senses, as Prabhupada mentioned, that they are either partial or they are false, because our senses are not perfect. We are easily getting illusion, and also the knowledge through inference is not absolute, because it's through inference, it's based on some sample data, right? We see example like we generally see that if it's a month of June, it should be hot because it's really like near summertime, but it's not always. Sometimes we feel like really cold, right? So that knowledge is not perfect, even inference, and the knowledge through the shabda praman. So there are two types of shabda praman. Like one is like shabda praman means like we get knowledge by hearing from other living entity, like other people, like other human beings. That knowledge is not perfect. But the shabda praman, which is coming directly from the scriptures, or which is directly coming from the Lord, from the Vedas, that is the correct knowledge, because that is non-defective knowledge. The knowledge that is coming from the other people, like if we hear from like CNN, maybe some NASA or some other authorities and all, that knowledge is based on human experimentation. So that knowledge is not perfect, even though they are speaking, we are hearing their words. So that is defective shabda. That is basically that words are defective because they are being given by the human beings. But the non-defective shabda, which is basically coming from the Lord or from the Vedas, that is the correct way of knowledge. So here Shilpa say, without him, all our knowledge is either false or partial. And the opposite to the sun is darkness. So if we take out the sun from this universe, right, in this universe, the source of light and and heat is the sun. If we take out the sun, so for example, like in the night time, we don't see the sun, right? Or like when there is eclipse, we don't see the sun. So if we take out the sun, then what we see? We see darkness. Darkness. Similarly, opposite to Krishna is Maya or illusion. Maya or illusion. So that is very nicely described, in Chaitanya Charitamrita also. Krishna Surya Sama, Maya hai andhakar, yahan Krishna taha nahi Maya radhika. So this is mentioned very very nicely in Chaitanya Charitamrita, that wherever there is Krishna, like Krishna is compared to sunshine, right? So wherever there is Krishna, it is brightness, knowledge, full knowledge there. But wherever Krishna is not there, the Maya is there. So wherever there is sunshine, there cannot be any darkness. If sun is present, there cannot be darkness. But as soon as sun is not there, then the darkness take the picture immediately. Like darkness come into the picture. But if like in the morning we see, like in the night there's a darkness, but in the morning when the sun rises from the horizon from the east, slowly everything become completely bright and clear. And in the evening when the sun sets, then everything become dark again. So we can here comparison is given that Krishna like is sun and darkness like Maya. So whenever we are in front of Krishna, whenever we are in contact with Krishna, so that means we are basically always in knowledge, always in brightness. That brightness represent knowledge. Tamsoma jyotirgamya, astoma sadgamya. So even Vedas says that, like we have to go from darkness to the light. So the light is Krishna, and darkness is absence of Krishna. Right? That's why, like when we offer this prayer, Om Agyan Timirdasya Jnananjana Shalakaya. So we are basically all born in the darkness. Means we are all born or we are all here without Krishna consciousness. So when the spiritual master guru comes and gives us the torch of knowledge, which is Krishna consciousness, then we were able to see. Similarly, we see like in Srimad Bhagavatam, there's a prayer offered by Dhruv Maharaj. So Dhruv Maharaj offered the prayer like we see in the past of Dhruv Maharaj, on the order of Narad Muni, he went to Madhuvan and he was performing austerities and tapasya. He was basically for 6 months he was performing, and at the end he was able to see Krishna in his heart, and he was meditating on Krishna's beautiful form. But Krishna appeared in front of him, and but because Dhruva Maharaj was seeing Krishna in the heart, he was not opening the eyes. But then Krishna immediately disappeared from his heart, and then suddenly like Dhruva Maharaj, he became like very disturbed, and he opened the eyes and he saw Krishna in front of him. So when he saw Krishna in front of him, so what did he do? Like suppose even for us also, like if we are there, suddenly Krishna come in front of us. So what will be our reaction? So Dhruv Maharaj, he was just a 5-year-old boy. So he was like, when he saw Krishna, he became so captivated by the beauty of Krishna. So first thing that a living entity does when they see Krishna is to glorify Krishna. This is our eternal position. We are all servant of Krishna. So our eternal position is to glorify Krishna. Dhruv Maharaj, he was in front of Krishna, and he was he was there, and he was drinking the beauty of Krishna. But he also want to glorify. See, through his eyes he was seeing Krishna, but his tongue also want to glorify Krishna at that time. So, but he was just a 5-year-old boy. He doesn't know the words. He was not aware of Krishna's qualities. He's not aware of like how to glorify Krishna. All those things were not aware. So he was very anxious in his heart, and he was saying, how can I glorify Krishna? But Krishna, being present in the heart of all living entities, he saw that, oh, this my dear, my devotee Dhruva want to glorify me, but he doesn't know how to glorify. So being very compassionate, like a Lord took his conch shell, and he touched the conch shell on the cheeks of Dhruv Maharaj. And as soon as he touched the conch shell, Dhruv Maharaj immediately become expert in all Vedic knowledge. It is like mentioned that the conch shell of the Lord is like Vedas. Just by touch of the conch shell, these Dhruv Maharaj completely become very well versed in the whole Vedas. All Vedic knowledge he got immediately. Right? And with that knowledge, he actually offered 12 prayers. And those prayers, our Acharya says, they are like Dwadash Adityas. They are like Adityas are basically like you can say sun, right? So they are like 12 prayers which are basically like giving the light on the whole Vedic knowledge. So in the very first prayer, like Dhruv Maharaj says, Yuvanta Pravishya Mamavacham Imam Prasuptam Sanjeevati Akhil Shakti Dhara Sudhamna Anyam Shahasta Charana Shravana Todagdin Pranan Namo Bhagavate Purushaya Tubhyam. So in that prayer, he's offering that, oh my Lord, you're all powerful. And he's saying that my senses were there before, but now I feel my senses are different. And why is saying that? Saying that after entering within me, you have enlivened my sleeping senses. We all have senses, but our senses are sleeping right now. I'm talking about myself, not you are all devotees. Your senses are all enlivened by Krishna, but mine, we are all like my senses are sleeping. Dhruva Maharaj saying my senses were sleeping, but you entered into my senses, and now you have enlivened all my senses. Means when he saw Krishna, when he experienced Krishna, that time he's seeing the difference between his life before Krishna, before seeing Krishna, and now after seeing Krishna. So even I can see my difference in my life when I was not a devotee. Now I'm a devotee. What is the difference? So he was, Srila Prabhupada mentioned the purport that Dhruv Maharaj is differentiating his life before coming in contact with Krishna, before doing bhakti. Now he's seeing it after coming in contact with Krishna. So Dhruv Maharaj is saying that my hands, my legs, my ears, my touch sensation, life force, they're all there, but they were all sleeping. Means I was not aware of you. I was in complete darkness. We are this material world is considered tamaha, or ignorance, or darkness. The only light what we have is here is Krishna consciousness. Means like Krishna. So until as Krishna is not there, this whole world is like darkness. That's why he says Krishna Surya Saman Maya Andhaka. If Krishna is not there, then this whole world is dark. Even though Surya is there, even though this material sun is there, but the real or the spiritual sun is Krishna. So there's our hands, legs, all our senses are there. We are experiencing things which is in darkness. But when we come in contact with Krishna, we really see the real object, which is Krishna. So my hands, legs, ears, touch sensation, life force, everything that he's saying that Krishna, when you entered into that and enlivening that, now I'm able to see the things in perspective. So this is what like Srila Prabhupada mentioned here, that we are in darkness, but when we come in contact with Krishna, then everything become clear. So further here, Srila Prabhupada says that devotees of the Lord can see everything in true perspective due to the light disseminated by Lord Krishna. So this is what Dhruv Maharaj is saying, when Krishna entered, means when Krishna enlivened, when you come in contact with Krishna through his holy name, through his pastime, through his books, through prasadam, through mercy, whatever we come in contact with Krishna, then we are able to see the things by the grace of the Lord. So here, further Krishna says, by the grace of the Lord, the pure devotee cannot be in darkness of ignorance. This is the Lord's mercy. Even though devotees might be there in the material world, even this material world is full of darkness, but because as long as we are in contact with Krishna through the holy name, through the association of devotees, through the scriptures, we cannot be in the darkness. That's why even Srimad Bhagavatam is mentioned that when Lord Krishna left this material world and he went back to Golok Vrindavan, so at that time this Srimad Bhagavatam arises from the horizon, and this Srimad Bhagavatam is like a Surya, which gives the knowledge about Krishna. So therefore, here it's mentioned, Srila further mentioned, therefore it is necessary that we must always be in sight of Lord Krishna. This is very, very important thing, that we should always be in front of Krishna. We should not go in the back of Krishna, because in the back of Krishna is Maya. Krishna's back is Maya, but while we are in front of Krishna, means we are in direct contact with Krishna. So in reality, what Prabhupada says is we are always in contact with Krishna through name, his beauty, his qualities, pastimes, or through scriptures, whatever way, because Abhinatva Nam, Krishna is not different from his name, his scriptures, his dham, his devotees, like that. So we should be always in sight of Krishna. We will be always in contact of Krishna through the devotee association, so that we can see both ourselves and Lord with his different energies. Because in order to see even ourselves and to see the this world and to other things, so we should be always in contact with Krishna. That's why many times we have heard that if you want to understand yourself, or you want to understand this world, we should see through the eyes of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. We can better see this world. And I'm not talking, I don't know about other devotees and all, but even for me, when I came around 20 plus years back to the US, before that I heard about Bhagavad Gita, but I never understand Bhagavad Gita, or never read Bhagavad Gita properly. So after coming in contact with devotees, coming in contact with the devotees and reading Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, I feel there's a difference between me, the way I see the world now and the way I used to see the world before. So these scriptures will give us like very good eyes to see not even ourselves, but to see this even material world, to understand. Because we see in one of the main topic that is being discussed in Bhagavad Gita and even in Bhagavatam is about this material world. If you see the Bhagavad Gita, there are 5 topics, and one of the topic is this material world. And about ourselves, Ishvara, Jiva, Prakriti, Kala, and Karma. And similarly, we see like in Srimad Bhagavatam, there is so much description about this material world also. So we can see ourselves, who we are, why we are here, what we are doing, and about that, and plus what is this world about, and definitely about Krishna. We can see, like here Prabhupada says that Lord with these different energies. Lord has multi energies. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that Bhumi Rapanolo Vayu Kammana Buddhirevacha Ahankarityam Binna Prakriti Ashtada Aparyamitastomnam Prakriti Vidhimi Param Jivbhuta Maho Edam Dharate Jagat. Krishna is explaining his different energies there. So without Krishna, who can explain his energies? In order to get knowledge about Krishna, the best source is Krishna. Only Krishna can give his knowledge about himself. Because we see in Bhagavad Gita 7th chapter, Krishna says in the beginning that now I'm going to give knowledge about myself. By understanding this, you can understand me completely. So let's move further. As we cannot see anything in the absence of the sun, so also we cannot see anything, including ourselves, without the factual presence of the Lord. So if the Lord is, if super soul is not there, if the Paramatma is not there in our heart, we cannot even experience ourselves. So here Prabhupada says, like, without sun we cannot see. So without Krishna, we cannot even see who we are and what we are doing here over here. So this the ultimate point is when Krishna comes here like from the Golok Vrindavan and tells us. When Krishna comes here and gives knowledge in Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, and all this scripture knowledge, and through his pastimes, through his devotees, then we are able to understand actually who we are. Otherwise, we will not be able to even understand who really we are and what is our goal here. So that's and the final Shri said that without him, all our knowledge is covered by illusion, which is again like without Krishna, everything is is darkness. The another point which mentioned here is that the devotees of Dwarka, they are feeling separation from Krishna, and even a moment, Srila Prabhupada didn't give more detail in the purport, but in the prayer they are offering this that without Krishna, even a single moment is like millions of years. So I will just want to quote that this is same thing what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu actually quoted in Shikshashtakam. Yugaitam nimishena chakshusha pravashaitam shunnetam jagat sarvam govinda virhinami. This is the like a mood of separation like of the devotees that feel for the Lord. So in this Shikshashtakam prayer, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is like expressing the mood of the Brajvasis, where they are basically saying that feeling your separation, I considered a moment to be like 12 years or more. Right? Tears are flowing, my eyes like torrents of rain, and I'm feeling all vacant in the world in your absence. So this is the position of like devotees, like and especially like as a Gaudiya Vaishnava, this mood of separation, or what we call Vipralambha bhav. This is what way we worship Lord. All our acharyas, they have actually explained, and they all worship Krishna in that. We never claim, at least that we see Krishna or we got Krishna. We always see that we are in here feeling separation from Krishna. And even this Rath Yatra, this is like we are in very this week is very like auspicious week, because we are going to see Lord Jagannath Rath Yatra. I think Thursday is the day like when there is a Rath Yatra in Jagannath Puri. So that time is the time when we really see this feeling of separation that Vrajvasis they were feeling when they meet Krishna in Kurukshetra. So this whole Rath Yatra is a festival of sharing emotions or expressing the emotions of Brajavasi to Lord Krishna. The way the Brajavasis, when they saw Krishna and they want to bring Krishna back to Vrindavan by pulling the chariot. This is showing that how much love they have for Krishna and how long they were waiting to see Krishna, that feeling of separation. So similarly here Dwarka Vasis, all these inhabitants of Dwarka, they are also expressing that, my Lord, even a moment of your separation is like millions of years for us. It's like we are basically like we are suffering so much because we cannot see your beautiful lotus-like face. Yeah, because here another point in this verse is that Krishna is compared with lotus, lotus-eyed. Here, if you see that here, he said, Ambuja Aksha. Well, actually, not even eyes. Like if you see the whole body of Krishna is compared to the lotus. But again, lotus is like a material thing. We are like if we see in the material, the lotus is there, but it becomes like stale like within few moments and all. But the lotus is the most beautiful and soft thing available, which we can actually compare with the Lord. But Lord is more beautiful, way more beautiful, and like he's more attractive than even lotus. So here, but like we generally compare with lotus, like Kamal Nayan, Kamalaksh, like a lotus feet, lotus eyes, lotus hands, like that. So we compare his. So this is actually to glorify the Lord's beauty. So that's another point which is mentioned in the verse. I think I covered most of the things. So let me see, let me stop here and see if anyone have any comment or any question or any kind of realization they would like to share.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
I just want to say I learned a lot today. That I learned that we should always remember Krishna. That is the point. Where there is Krishna, there is brightness. So it reminds that we should always remember Krishna. Very nice class.
Yes, thank you, Mataji. Thank you. Actually, it is mentioned in our scripture that always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. There are two things. Always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. So all other principles means whatever we are doing, all other principles are subordinate to these two principles. So if you always remember Krishna and never forget Krishna, if we satisfy these two principles and if you are following this, then we are good. That's the whole point. We need to basically work on these two principles. When we chant, when we do any other things, we should always remember these two main points. Like always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna.
Yeah, and then there is a brightness, and if we don't remember, there is darkness.
Yes.
Very nice point.
That's the point. Like without Krishna, we are in suffering in the material world. And if you are Krishna, if you are in contact with Krishna, there's always brightness and always knowledge.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Any other comments or questions? Yeah, I see one hand raised by Kalpesh Prabhu and Sonia Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you for this class.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you for explaining all these points. Sometime the question comes because the explanation was made that the eyes are only useful in the presence of sun, because that is our material eyes. But in this same world where we live, there are several creatures which has the eyes like us, not like us, but the eyes, they have it. But they even though there is no sun, they can still perceive the world with their material eyes. for certain creatures, not the human being. So that's number one. So knowing all what we perceive through our senses, we are gathering, but still there is a lens of our mind which is always working, and everyone is accumulating through our senses. So how do we really participate, and how do we really know um, that we are not in illusion? Because I mean, we always like to know, because many of the discussions are between the devotees also, there is a grades between the devotees and non-devotees, between the theist and atheist, and several categories and classification of the people we see even in like our Hinduism. The truth is spoken by Lord, but the truth has been interpreted in several different ways. So there is no one consistency for removing the illusion, because the whole participation of the world when we are engaging, it's so much different. So how do we know that we are out of this illusion really, and we are perceiving way it is as it is? Because we see in the lot of gradations. I meet so many people on daily basis. I try to meet different people and try to see and their views and perspectives and how they perceive the life. It's totally different. So knowing that Krishna is our supreme Godhead from the Vedas point of view, but if people are using Vedanta platform to bring the philosophical school, and they try to preach different gods, they try to change gods, and that creates that does not give a good uniformity. I mean, you want to say that how that illusion would, because even believing some wrong Godhead is an illusion, right? So and then propagating based on that philosophy is also it's a wrong conception of it. And then people try to promote that too in a very huge way, and then say, no, he is just an incarnation of this. No, he is same Krishna only. He is Krishna only. Now, how can it be? I mean, you can't make your own thing. Then you are just lying. The first foundation of our truth, the truthfulness is you don't make up things on your own. You say as it is. The truthfulness definition for dharma is the way as it is. So, I mean, you want to say something on that?
Well, see, it is whatever you mentioned is like there are many people with many opinions are there, and like we need to find it out. Like as we mentioned that your source of knowledge, what your source of knowledge is. So where is come to the authority, like, so where you believe. So if the source of knowledge is Vedas, as you mentioned that through Vedas, some people are basically misinterpreting Vedas, and they are projecting like a different concept of the God. But if we see in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that Vedescha sarve aham eva vedyo. So the purpose of Vedas is to know Krishna. So Krishna himself is saying in Bhagavad Gita, he's saying that, like, evam parampara praptim imam rajashyo vidyu. So Krishna is giving this knowledge in a parampara system. So main point is that we need to only hear from people who are authorized and bona fide. Srila Prabhupada have very extensively mentioned this point in Bhagavad Gita, that if we need to gain the right knowledge, we need to find it out right source. And that right source is that a person should be, or a teacher should be, or a guru should be in a bona fide disciplic succession. So if you talk about, there are hundreds of people, thousands of people, there are people in this world, and they have different opinions. That's fine. They can keep it because they are doing mental concoction. They might be taking some part of Veda, something like that, something from here and there. They can manufacture their own view. They can manufacture their own philosophy. They can manufacture their own parampara. But we cannot really or we should not go there, because say, if you want a right knowledge, we have to go to right place. So even let's say, suppose if you want a good degree, for example, suppose if you want to become an engineer or a doctor, we want to go to the universities which are authorized, so that we can actually, when we practice, we can get the degree that will be recognized by everyone, because it's authorized. So similarly, we see in our in Vedas, there are authorized sampradayas, and those sampradayas are already mentioned in the Shastra, that these are the authorized sampradayas, and they will basically explain. They have their point of view explaining the Shastra. And as you say, that Vedanta, so Vedanta is basically explained by many schools. So even that schools, we need to see which school give the ultimate knowledge. So there, as we see, there are discussions are there. So in a Vedanta, who actually compiled Vedanta, we need to see. So if we see, Vedanta is compiled by Vedvyas Muni. Vedvyas Muni is who give all Vedic knowledge and Vedanta. So we have to take Vedvyas Muni's opinion or Vedvyas Muni's words as the source of truth.
Correct.
So Vedvyas Muni himself said in Srimad Bhagavatam, that when he was basically compiled all the Vedas, he compiled all the other scriptures, and he compiled even Puranas. Even though after compiling all these, he was not feeling happy. He was feeling like that he is lacking something, or he's not satisfied. He was feeling that he has done. Generally, what happened, like Kalpesh Prabhu, I'll give you example, that if you go in a street and you see a person who is very hungry, right? So you have some food with you, and when you give the food to that person who is very hungry, and he take the food, what happens is that person will become like satisfied and happy, right? Because he got the food. He was hungry and he got the food, and he took the food. But when you see that person happy, you will also become happy, isn't it? Because you have helped someone, and that person is become happy, so you are also happy, right? Because you see that person is happy, you feel very happiness, right? So similarly, when Vedvyas Muni, when he did great work for the whole human society, but he was not feeling happy. So he saying that his Guru Maharaj came and he asked, I did a great work, and I actually created the whole compiled the whole Vedas and all those kind of things for the benefit of the human society, but I'm not feeling happy. What is I'm lacking? So then the Guru Maharaj said that you actually did not glorify Krishna, which is a goal of everyone. So then, on the instruction of his Guru Maharaj, he actually meditated, and he was able to see Krishna in his meditation with his energies. And then he compiled Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the ultimate. And he himself said that the Srimad Bhagavatam is basically the commentary on Vedanta Sutra. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also accepted Vedanta Sutra as a natural commentary on, Srimad Bhagavatam as a natural commentary on Vedanta Sutra. So Vedanta means Srimad Bhagavatam. So if we come to Srimad Bhagavatam now, we have to isolate this, and we have to come to that Srimad Bhagavatam is the ultimate knowledge. So if anyone who is explaining Srimad Bhagavatam will give the absolute truth, which is basically start. Even Vedvyas Muni, the very first thing he said in the Srimad Bhagavatam is Janmadiyasya tu anvaditatascha Vigyaswara. So from where everything comes. And same thing is Vedanta Sutra says Janmadiyasya tu. So if you see the both are Srimad Bhagavatam and Vedanta Sutra, they are coming from starting from this Janmadiyasya tu. So from that perspective, we have to come. Now, if other people have different opinion, they will say different things, but we are not interested in that, because their knowledge is not coming from authorized source. We are basically talking about the knowledge coming from the authorized source, which is from Vedvyas Muni to Sukadeva Goswami, and that is our knowledge. So rather than wasting time to debate with those people who are basically don't have source, we need to explain what is our school of thought is, right? And if they accept that, that's fine. If they don't accept, that's their choice. We present knowledge which is basically coming in parampara, which is coming from Krishna to Lord Brahma to Narada Muni to Vedvyas Muni. We have parampara through which we are basically getting knowledge. We haven't invented knowledge, It is already there, which is given by Krishna, first to Lord Brahma in Chaturshloki Bhagavatam. Then Lord Brahma gave it to his son Narad Muni, and Narad Muni gave it to Vedvyas Muni, and then it's coming to like us in that parampara. So we are basically like following that parampara, and we know our knowledge is perfect because it's coming from the perfect source, Krishna. So other people, they have different opinion. They project their different gods or different philosophies and all. That is their choice, because they are not really going to the right source. So we can explain them, this is the right source. If they will accept it, that's their choice, because some people will accept, not everyone will accept, because they are being affected by different kind of karma, different kind of their mentality from millions of lifetime. So not everyone will accept in one shot. It might take time, it might take time, but we have to basically be patient with them, and we have to try to give right knowledge. See, our Srila Prabhupada says that there is so much of misinformation in the world, so much of wrong information in the world, and they are like these wrong information is basically given in a very, very large scale through media, through social media, through other ways, and is spread everywhere. So it is so deep here in the material world that it is very difficult to eradicate that knowledge in a one shot. So as they were doing their propaganda for wrong knowledge, we have to do propaganda for the right knowledge. We have to speak the right thing, what Krishna is saying in Bhagavad Gita. We are just repeating the words of Krishna, like what Krishna is in Bhagavad Gita, what is there in Srimad Bhagavad. We keep repeating, and because it's the right knowledge, it will going to strike them. The people, when they hear it, they will realize, and they will basically accept it. But all we have to do, we have to basically keep doing the right knowledge, the right source of knowledge. But again, as you say, like there are many people with different things they present it, but I would say they are unfortunate people. They are not able to get the right source of knowledge. Sometimes some people go in the wrong hand. If people go in the wrong hand, like they are going to get illusion, they are going to get bewildered, because they are being preached wrong philosophy. Even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that Mayavadi philosophy, don't hear. If you hear, then you are done. So we should not hear from those philosophies. We should rather go to the right place, like Srimad Bhagavatam, and read it from there. That's what I can say about it.
So Mayavada is the one who makes his own philosophies, right? That's the idea. It's not to do with
Mayavadi is basically like they give their own interpretation by covering the real interpretation, right? Like
yes.
the real interpretation of Vedanta Sutra, as you said, Vedanta Sutra is a real thing, but Vedanta Sutra, they interpret in their own way, which is wrong. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, like when Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, he said to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that I am going to teach you Vedanta Sutra. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, okay, teach. So for 7 days, and 7 days, this Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya explaining Vedanta Sutra to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not ask any question, or even he did not raise hand, he did not nod his head, he did not say anything. So then Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, he was little anxious. He was saying, I'm explaining for 7 days. You did not even say yes, no, good or bad, anything. Are you really understanding? Are you getting the things what I'm explaining? Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's answer is that, whatever the sutras are there, it is very clear. They are like Surya, they are like sun. It is very clear. Their meaning is very clear. But your explanation is covering the real meaning. So the explanation that Mayavadi gives from their own, own brain, what you call mental concoction, whatever, that explanation covers the real meaning of Vedanta Sutra. So that's why that actually bewilders people. Otherwise, meaning is very clear. Janmadhyasya, from where everything comes, from which everything comes out, this material world, and then it talks about Krishna. But they are basically like covering the real meaning, and they are giving their own interpretation. That is the wrong way. So that's why Mayavadi philosophy actually bewilders us. That's why it's called Mayavad. Right? So that's the point. So we have to go to right source to get the right knowledge.
Yeah, I always thought the right source is Vedas, and whatever the dissension process which came through philosophical school by giving the processes. But lately, there are people who are telling that they are a part of Vedanta school, but then they are propagating the supreme Godhead is something different than what we have been knowing over the histories, and then they are turning, they are propagating so heavily and influencing so many people by marketing heavily. So I mean, that's where that, because when we are seeking something, right, in that seeking process, the expansion is there. Everybody has their own expansion, and when we see those expansion, then the war is between my belief versus your belief. That war we always come across, and that in that comparison, that bewilders us too. In that comparison, like how do we see it in that sense? Because if illusion is the illusion, right, if we cannot really see it the way it is, then we are illuded actually. So that's what always, and the truthfulness was always that you don't want to make up stuff on your own and start lying about it, because then you're not truthful actually. That's the first principle of the dharma, the foundation of it, the truthfulness. And I mean, Prabhuji, you have like, because people do ask me, oh, our eyes are this, but there are some creatures which perceives the world differently, like a bat example, or alligator, or some of those in the wild world. How would we explain those questions? I mean, somebody says, no, that's we can perceive it this way. So everybody perceives it differently. That's where also there is a trouble. How to come to this similar platform, or not in similar, but the same platform of practices.
No, what you are saying is correct. That some of the creatures, they have some amount of what you call way of perceiving the world, but are they your authorities? So point is that, like, like as you say, like, some creatures, they are within deep into the earth, maybe deep into the ocean. They also basically have some way of perceiving the world through waves, through their, like, some kind of seeing. But here example is given, so we really cannot really here example is given in such a way that analogy is given to sun, that sun is there, and like most majority of people see, or majority of living entities see in the sun, right? So it is an example. There are always some exception to small things, right? We really cannot, if we start arguing about that, then it's become very difficult. The point is that, like, we are trying to giving some analogy to explain the topic.
Correct.
Our idea should be to understand the topic, not to be like too much fuzzy about what is being basically mentioned in the analogy. So, like,
Yes.
like generally we see, like, if somebody is an intelligent person, we should just give him a hint and he will understand. You don't need to explain the whole thing. So the whole idea of analogy is a hint given to give you the perspective, not because every analogy can have some exception, but we are not strict to that exception. We are giving you idea that this is the whole idea. So, and as you said, that like many people basically like see the world in a different way. That's okay. They can see the different world. That's not a point. Everybody can see world in their own way, but whole point is that what is the truth? If everybody is seeing truth, then truth is so all different. Truth is always one, and that one truth will be basically like everyone accept, even though we might see so many things, but truth is one, and that truth is basically what is given by Vedas Muni. So Vedas says Satyam Param Dhimahi. The very first verse of Srimad Bhagavatam says that I am basically meditate. We are all meditating upon that absolute truth. And what is that absolute truth? That is Shri Krishna. Because if we are not really talking about like what Vedas Muni is saying, then we can keep debating. We'll not be able to like, you are saying something, I'll say something, some other person is saying something. We'll never come on one point. Some place we have to say, okay, this is the place. So we all should say that we have faith on what Vedas Muni compiled it. So if we say that, and then we can discuss about it. Otherwise, everybody can say their own thing, but it really like not going to come to conclusion. You will not be able to understand truth, because when Krishna is coming in the form of Vedas Muni and giving knowledge, and you are saying no, we don't believe in that, what's the point?
That's right. No, I think so. I got your point there, because whenever I do the discussions or something, I try to do the devotional service. People always literally take that analogy as a like the complete. I see your point here. You're telling no, the analogy is just helping us to because we see it that way, right, in our practical world. So it helps us to digest the information. What is the truth actually? But people literally takes it. No. I mean, this is that. Then they try to find a loophole on that, and that.
Yeah.
I mean, then the conversation digress totally into something else. Thank you, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yeah,
Very
because-
well explained.
Because those people, they do not want to understand. The whole point is, say, like people say that, okay, whether tree come first or seed come first. If you say seed come first, they will say, if seed come first, from where the seed come? If you say tree come first, then they will say from where the tree, where the tree comes. So, but Krishna says that, in Bhagavad Gita, I am the seed giving father. Both, Krishna gave both. But point is that people will not accept it. The people who want to argue, they can keep arguing. It's like, because they will not accept, So they will always find some loophole and they say, oh, what about this? What about this? What about this? So those people, they will not want to understand. Rather, they just want to basically argue. So like, keep arguing will not end up you like giving knowledge. Rather, you will become confused. So we should try to understand what Vedvyas Muni is explaining us in Srimad Bhagavatam. Krishna is explaining Bhagavad Gita, and we should just follow that. And when we follow this result, so then we're happy with that result. We are not basically saying how this thing works. Some of the things we can understand right now. Some of the things might reveal to you later, because not everything you can understand at right now. If you say, Prabhuji, you should explain me right now, otherwise I'll not accept it. Well, that's a big challenge, because you are in a elementary school and you want to understand the topic of PhD level. How you can understand? But when your understanding is not at that level, how can you understand? People don't understand this point. That's another point.
No, you're right. There's a way different. Yeah, you got, yeah. Nicely explained. Thank you.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Anyone else have any other comment or question before me? All right. So thank you all for joining. Thank you very much, everyone. So we are going to end now. Hare Krishna, everyone. Vancha kalpatarubhascha kripa sindhuvacha patitana pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Anant koti Vaishnav vrinde ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.